Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with my continuing play testing of Black Ice 11.1 mod with Third Reich events, German gameplay augmentation, units of the Third Reich, and the D-Worms mods. So we're continuing this on. But if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, and of course everyone can give it a like to appreciate it. Not yet. Not where Arno. All I'm doing is making factories now. That's all I'm doing. Nothing but making factories. And it won't be probably time until 1938. Mass events advance. At soonest, or anything like a heavy tank unit. Dual purpose guns. I know you like the heavies. They'll get there if we play long enough. And again, those watching, if you think this is the start of a big series, well, I'm sorry, it's probably not. This is before starting the live stream on which I'm recording this on. Oh no, we need to be up here. Table. Yes, there we are. Yeah. Stop this. Half an hour before starting the live stream, I was still just getting ready with fixing problems and whatnot, and so I just need to test this. So it was either test this, sleep, or do something I really wasn't prepared to do, like play a game that I hadn't set up ready. So yeah, things aren't perfect, but how to kill a YouTube channel. Okay. I know people want to see a good playthrough, something you can watch through and get attached to, but that unfortunately isn't what we're doing right now. Yes, I'm very much of an infrastructure player. I want to do that. Get that going and everything else will follow from there. I've learned that about myself. 37 technologies, because we're got much of the 36 either. Oh no, we don't there that. Okay. Almost another whole point. We can do improved security. That would be nice. Yes. Only the Crimean War. Only the Valley of the Death Road, the 600. I don't know the poem beyond that, but I understand the Charge of the Light Brigade factories. So okay, we're going to wait till after those first run of factories get done to do these. Again, all these decisions that I'm hovering over here all need to be taken sometime during 1936, or they'll go away and you'll miss them. Hey, Beam Slam, how you doing? Yep. One thing, I'm not sure because I didn't risk doing this, but it was reported another thing. I'm not sure if I fixed it with fixing the D-Worm mod problem or not, but if you try to save it in January of 1936, it's more than likely it had been to crash. So wait till February comes around and then save. It seems to work. Again, I didn't test it on this exact build, but that's had been my noticed behavior. But then, now this is seeming so far been stable, so that's doing good. But I did get some serious bugs crushed. Okay, how is Sweden doing? Okay, they're trying to align themselves towards me already. Let's see if we can get Norway to be a little more friendly. How are we doing there? Yeah, let's influence them. Hey, Spiraling, how you doing? I know it's a disgusting thing to say, but I was hoping Russia would invade Ukraine. I find it incredibly fascinating. Well, obviously a war in your neighborhood is never a good idea. If you can avoid it, do so. So it would be bad but there's already a war going on there. Would be, I guess, fascinating, but not in, I don't know. I hear you wanting to sort of see what might happen, but it could easily go sideways. Now Ragar. There's been no war yet, but you do know what happened. Um, there was, I forget which carrier, but one of the major U.S. carriers was on its way to the Indian Ocean, and the U.S. administration stopped it here, and it's still, to my knowledge, here. Somewhere in this part of the Mediterranean. So instead of deploying, it wasn't coming home. It was heading out to the Indian Ocean to fly whatever out here, maybe off of wherever. But instead of being out in the Indian Ocean where it was scheduled to be, they've stopped it and it's now hanging out in the Eastern Mediterranean somewhere. I don't know if it's like doing a port call, like hey, everybody gets the weekend off in Athens, or if it's out at sea running track drills, for the aircraft or whatever it's doing. But we've stopped an American aircraft carrier. Didn't quite provocatively push it, to my knowledge at least. This is just like within the last week or so. Last week or two, I think is when they stopped it. To my knowledge, it's still there. I haven't heard that it's moved yet. Not that I for sure that I would hear, but I'm not paying that close of attention. I mean, because it's you can follow it and it's reported, and trust me, people notice a carrier going through the Suez Canal. So you might be able to hide it somewhere, but you're not hiding it going through the Suez Canal. If the people who pay attention will know, and I don't even mean the spies. I mean just the people who people like Janes and other people that watch these things. Haven't quite moved it into the Black Sea, but stopping it here is a very big sign to the Russians that things might happen. And the U.S. sends multiple spy planes to recon rebel positions in Crimea. Seems like they're planning something. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know spy planes. I'm not doubting you saying it, but that's definitely something, because obviously we're always doing spy satellites that we move around and look around anyways at different places. Okay. Twin engine Bombay, I presume. Yeah. Oh, that was a killer bomb. By the way, are carriers even allowed? Yes, they are allowed into the Black Sea. There's generally transit rights through the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles. I don't know the U.S. policy, because obviously the closer you get to somewhere, the more in danger they are. So I don't know the U.S. policy on putting a carrier into the Black Sea. It's a fairly long flight taking off here and coming up to here. Now, there with air refueling, it's quite doable. And then obviously through some NATO type sponsored basing, you can refuel. You load up the bombs, you fly up here, you land, you get refueled, you take off, and you bomb and you come home. I don't quite know the operating range, effective ranges for current carrier aircraft, whether you can do it from the Aegean or whatnot. But yeah, it's definitely it's a big sign to the Russians that we are taking this seriously, because they could have easily just let it go on to the sort of the, again, like we don't normally at least put like carriers into the Persian Gulf. We normally keep them out here, but maybe they've been coming in. I don't know. I'm not sure on that. But my friend Kushan would know. Good streamer. I don't know if he's on right now. He might be on the Slytherin channel. He would know better. He keeps track of a lot of that stuff. Kushan. But he'd be on Slytherin TV right now if he is. How should you do geopolitics education? Yeah, but nobody would watch them. In fact, when I do them, nobody watches them. I've done a few. There's a few type things on the channel like that. Is there Ragar? Well, I'm not sure. That could be. I'm not sure. I don't know the Montreal or whatever convention. I don't know it, and trust me, I don't know everything. And I obviously haven't done any particular looking into it. Great War analysis. Let's come over here. Trust me, there's a lot of things I don't know, and including just in fields that I sort of kind of look into and sort of kind of follow. Obviously, I don't know rocket science or something, or brain surgery, but even things that I do sort of pay attention to, trust me, there's still significant gaps. And if I were trying to do a little better, so what I label either my live talks or my videos normally as commentary, because I know I'm getting the history wrong on things I'm talking about, just because I know I'm not always right. But when I research, like for events, for Third Reich events, I do pretty good research. So the history is pretty solid. Okay, let's. Okay, I'm looking here. What we want to do with. Okay, let's do a little more spying to try to steal some text. Let's see. Let's spy in Japan. They have a navy. But maybe they're doing good navy tech that we could steal. And let's spy on Britain. Maybe they're also advanced in the navy, because I'm not doing much navy research. Are you talking military history, like military campaigns? Are you talking generals and doing that stuff? Or are you talking about Germany, like Nazi Germany, and trying to understand what's going on there, and not talking details of the invasion of France, or narrow down a little bit more, Mum. I guess that's what I'm calling you. Small warship armor. Okay, well, interesting books on Germany. Hitler's Monsters by Eric. I forget his last name. Eric Kurlander. You can find it on Amazon. Hitler's Monsters. Highly recommend that book. Hitler's Compromises. I forget the author of that. Those two are very good at trying to understand Nazi Germany. They're very different. I'm not going to alt tab and look out to a third book that's sort of similar to that type of thing. I'm going to pull it off the shelf over here. This other book that I have here, just because I don't want to alt tab out of this too much. One other book there's a total of 3 books. I lost literally one of them years ago now, and I don't know where the hell it is. But just interesting books. I don't know if these are best books, but one of them is called Hitler's Wartime Picture Magazine, Signal, Signal. And then there's a Years of Advance and Years of Retreat. It's two books. I don't have Years of Advance in my hands. I've lost it somewhere. I don't know. I have Years of Retreat. And these are all taken from Signal magazine, which was the Heer's, the Army's magazine, and it was published in English during the war, mainly for. They did try to get it out, to my knowledge, to neutral countries, for sure, but their one main audience for this were the Channel Islands. So it was published in English for the Channel Islands, and these are books that I don't think are in print anymore, but you can find used maybe, but maybe they're in print. I don't know. And so you get the German perspective of what they wanted to show people talking about the army, and it's just sort of samples from the stuff, but it's in the English language. Sort of interesting thing that you might find. You probably acted like spoiled brats in the last 12 years or so. Seems like the whole EU project messed their critical thinking. Yeah, well, the EU project is going off the Egypt. Now, if you want more campaign stuff, you have like Achtung Panzer by one Heinz Guderian. You may have heard of him. You have Panzerleader, which is more of a wartime thing, also by Heinz Guderian. And you have Lost Victories by von Manstein. Panzerleader and Lost Victories are now our post-war books. So you might be interested in those. I had an English book with signal issues, a few, but probably not the book you mentioned. Yeah. Well, these are, they're just all, extracts, pages from different magazines, all cobbled together into book format as sort of samples. You get samples of advertising and stories, and it's German propaganda, but it's just interesting to see the war from their perspective during the war. Not after the war, trying to justify it or trying to run away from the Holocaust and other atrocities. I mean, they don't bring that up in these books, of course. They're all trying to be positive and whatnot, but very interesting stuff. And all these have informed me over the years, some more recent. I mean, obviously the Panzerleader and Lost Victories, those are written post-war by the generals, so those are fairly old. These, so some of the stuff is old stuff, some of the stuff like Hitler's Monsters. I think the other one I'm also thinking of is Hitler's Empire, but I'm not sure on that title. But definitely Hitler's Empire and Hitler's Compromises are good looks at Germany and trying to understand the Nazis and their rule internally. So David Irving's books recently, Goebbels, Himmler, Göring, down. Right, I've not read his books. Now I've read, it's a lot of, and I've done a lot of research back when I actually took a course. I know some of you know this. I repeat myself a lot because I know it's not the same audience always. Back when I was in university, I did take a semester-long course on, Hitler. Not that many students in that course. But so yeah, I've done, proper upper division university work. And a reading book like Charles Flood's book, which deals with Hitler's rise to power. Read that, and then I've read, the classic work, 2-volume set by John Toland, The Rise and Fall of Adolf Hitler. So I know there's more recent scholarly work and whatnot going on than some of the stuff I've read. But yeah, I don't know that anyone's largely discredited Toland on his book on Hitler. I'm not saying there aren't newer, better research stuff, but yeah, there's a lot out there to read, and there's a lot that I haven't read. I'm sure. I know of the name David Irving, but I have not read his works. Alone pictures are worth the magazines, of course. And it's almost pure propaganda sometimes. There's a bunch of color pictures and covers and whatnot in the Signal magazines. Now, see, Signal is specifically the Army's publication out to civilians kind of thing. It's not an internal, how-to, it's not manuals. It's not a internal journal. It's a external kind of work. But it is their primary source work. It's not necessarily correct because they're giving you propaganda, but it is primary source to understand what's going on. In primary school had some original issues, very interesting, yes. Okay, small warship, armament division, small warship engine, machine gun focus. Okay, I either want to make sure that we should keep researching them, or we're going to keep on that, but those two are grayed out. And the other one is machine guns, which I think is this, and which we're going to stop. Okay. Now, get that one going. Let's do this. So yeah, well, I don't know how many books on World War II I have, but I'm sure it's in the multiple hundreds. I'm not saying thousands, but in the multiple hundreds. Broadcasting, okay, we can do some of that. Okay, invest in our schools of war. And yeah, sometimes I bought, used bunch of collections, but I've read most of the books or skimmed them for basic stuff. Okay. Now, we currently need no consumer goods or to do on our current. You can push to having war economy. In 37, I've decided, I think is when I'm going to, maybe before then, turn on to bigger conscription. That just reduces your ICs by 1% over what it currently is, I think is what it is, but it's not that big of a hit. So I probably don't need, right now, we might, because it's not so much the money, and again, I've reduced some of these money things. I don't know if I reduced these, but don't know that we need the 4% negative here. Normally that's what I would do, but we're doing so well. What we are often facing here, though, this playthrough is not bad. We have a 51% on National Socialism. That is very good, but if you've noticed some of my recent playthroughs, we're often hovering at somewhere between 40 and 30% approval. This is interesting that we're seeing the fascists next, and these are all sort of small. I don't know why these happen, and now I don't know how much the deworms mod or GGA might be influencing this. I'm sure GGA maybe a bit more. We can see small news and politics and TRE. Pure Princip, I think that's Black Ice or Standard. Yeah, Oust Minister, of course, which is him. That's Foreign Minister, German Constant North. But we're also getting quote unquote internal factors, 1.8. So that's doing pretty good, but I've seen it go down a lot less. I would say this is easily actual support for the Nazis generally going at this time. So what I think we're going to do here is to make sure that we keep good ruling party support. We're going to go for news and politics as our next push. Walter Wever, and he is a good pilot for being an old man. He had been in the army and transferred over to the and he dies. It's like you saw, like an 80% chance that he dies in the accident. I gave him a 20% chance of surviving. It's like clips or something on the wings that kept the flaps from properly deploying on takeoff that then caused the crash. So no matter how good a pilot he was, it was going to crash. Just was he going to survive the crash, I guess. And I decided to give him a chance of survival. Twin engine airframe advance. Okay, that's grayed out. Let's get that over to here. So yeah, I'm fairly well informed on World War II, but there's, trust me, gaps in my knowledge, insignificant ones. I'm still working at trying to understand just really what National Socialism was for Germany. Because the popular view, both currently, currently I don't necessarily mean view today, now so much, but since like 1970 or before, the sort of popular view of National Socialism is just fascism plus super racism. One, they weren't fascist; they were totalitarian, but weren't fascist. We're going to start. If you want to TRE removes all the forts, and which shouldn't be there, because there weren't forts there at the start of the game. If you don't want to manually have to build them all back, which would be sort of a stupid idea, you want to start the program here. And notice it's going to tell, well, it will be removed. It's because January 1, 1968 means just to the end of the game. This Pioneer Program modifier will be removed at some point, but you're going to pay for it. 3% of ICs, manpower down, money down. Yes, there are money costs in TRE, but it is not the primary plus all of the, the initial stuff. And there will be more cost as time goes on for the program. So it isn't just this cost, but it's a big hit to your energy, 10,000. So yeah, TRE is not meant to be a free things or make Germany easy. It's just how I'm sure I'm wrong, because I'm making guesses of what the cost should be or whatever. But I'm making guesses of trying to be realistic in what's going on here is how I view it. Okay, into Oblivion and Kharkov to Stalingrad, the story of the Pioneer Battalion. Okay, that could be interesting. Yeah, so I remove all the forts at the start of the game, or very close to it when the TRE starts. Remove all the forts, in this part of the stuff. There are, and gets expanded, but there are some that are historical ones that are sort of around different parts of Germany that were pre-existing in 36, and which I don't touch, but it's just the West Wall, even the parts that Germany could militarize, this part down here, had not, it's the best of my knowledge. And at the start of 1936, it's more like the Pioneer starting now. Pioneer program starts now. None of them had been built or nothing of any significance. Just cover this one since it's short. Tag der SA Gruppe Nord C. That means the day of the SA Group North Sea. I'm highlighting this one because I found the poster for the event. You can see June 6th through the 7th. That's the copy of the actual poster. A tinny. A tinny is a badge that is sold at the event. Maybe the guys in uniform could wear it that day, maybe, but I'm not even sure on that. It's not for your uniform. It's more to sell to the attendees, not the SA men so much, but like their family, friends, and other people for a profit. So they're cheap little badges that are made, and let's say they cost a penny to make, they sell them for 5 cents, or they cost 5 cents, they sell them for a dime, or whatever it is. You get the point. And so it's a fundraising thing that they raise funds off of, and you get to get a souvenir badge, and people collected them. So that's a copy of it. And this, I do believe also, and I'd have to look up, is actually a photo from the event and day of the SA group in Bremen. So it's up here, here in Bremen. Is a good public relations event and should increase. Now these kinds of things are going during the right seasons, like not in the winter and times like that so much. These are going on all the time, all over Germany, events like these. And this is just, I happen to be able to get a photo of an actual tinny from the event, because you see they're highlighting the lighthouse tower there and whatnot in the poster and the tinny to make that out. And this is just a sample of what's going on. And there's a few of these days I put in with the essay to just sort of show what is going on inside Nazi Germany at this time, to get a little bit of a flavor of it. And force scattered around, they built some in the First World War along the border to Denmark. As far as I know, they might still be sort of active. Oh yeah, well no, they wouldn't be. Would they? Because, well, I don't know. Well, okay, I don't know for sure, because I think it's these two provinces here, I think were German at the start of World War I, and go to Denmark for some reason, I don't know particularly why, for, post-World War I. I think so. I may be wrong. I know, Beam Slam, you're from the area. You can correct me if you know. But I think there's a bit of a border change. So, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. And I know there's some of these forts, and it's actually been extended here through events dealing with the deworms mods that they did sort of build forts here? Correct, in 19, oh, by an election. Okay, so it was sort of one of Wilson's 14 points thingy that, you know, if people want to vote, you know, local determination of what country you want to belong to. Okay, yeah, I get that point now, by election, why it happened. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. I'm not saying there's no, you know, whether these anti-aircraft guns should be here at the start of the game or not, I don't know. And some of these other like border forts or something that may or may not should be here, I don't know. But I definitely know none of the ones in this part should be there, because all the German stuff from World War I would be much deeper in France, what becomes France, you know, because the World War I borders. And basically, I mean, maybe not 100%, but basically all this area along the Rhine is occupied by France and or the other Western Allies and demilitarized, so they would have destroyed any significant levels of fortifications that would have existed then, you know. So and since this is demilitarized, there would be, again, no significant fortifications before the start of 1936. Advanced training centers, I think that is, yes, here, let's stop that. That's why I felt very comfortable in just removing them and then having an event chain that if you pick the right thing, and then there's more stuff. Because also I don't like in Hearts of Iron 4 the whole national focus is sort of okay, but I don't like the click button, wait 70 days, get result. Where this is click button, yeah, it pops up, click button, yes, I want to do it. Nothing's changed here because we're only starting the building of it. You know, there are events that are leading up until 1939 that will add more and more to this area and along here. And you could build more. I've often thought maybe I should have another either event or another option to dump in more resources to build a heavier wall, but I don't know. I sort of went with what I sort of guessed / would want to play with when I was originally making it. I haven't really re-examined it since then. Let's see what, okay, we can do that. And yeah, to a point, very much the start of my working on Third Reich events is very much made around the way I want to play the game and the sort of historical. And it's continued to this day. There are events that were significantly created by others that deal with, say, the switching of sides in Third Reich events of Romania, Hungary, and Bulgaria in particular. And now I've definitely looked at the coding and make sure that it works right. But when I'm building it, I sort of presume a certain level of success because, again, my play style, just as a player, is that, well, if I failed, I normally don't play till until the enemy takes Berlin. I play until and I've failed in playing. Sometimes, like this last invasion of Russia just didn't go well, but I was just, again, experimenting, sort of like I'm doing now, not really playing terribly seriously. But I've played seriously and sort of failed, and just realized, oh, I've failed. I'm not going to take Russia. Or whatever. And I realized, okay, well, it's been 6 months since I started my last game, before doing YouTube and even after doing YouTube. Take a long time playing, play slowly, play meticulously. Well, let's just start a new campaign. I've learned my lessons, start over, instead of like playing to the end. So I don't necessarily, for Third Reich events now, some of the stuff that the D-Worm does and some of the stuff that I haven't necessarily experienced that Revolver Hell does with GGA does cover collapsing fronts, of the Eastern Front of the Mediterranean, so that you can continue playing and seeing how that plays out. And it's not bad that he does it, but I just haven't put a lot of effort into it. And two, the further you get into the war, it's harder to program events because setting the right conditions. Right now we know presumably everybody's at peace and we sort of know what's going on, so it's sort of easy to put in historical events. But Do you know if or when, do you make an event presuming that the Axis does not have Malta or something, or do you put in a bunch of conditions? Fire this event after this date, but not if they control this, but if they control that, but if not, and you can sort of see how the conditions for have to be programmed in, and it gets harder and harder to figure out what would be historical events and when to fire them and whatnot. So that's why their TRE does definitely goes into the war time period, but it gets a little harder and harder to work it out. And like, because of some of my contributors, definitely has a pretty good dealing with. Now I don't know how well it will play with revolver held sort of stuff dealing with a similar sorts of issues. I don't know. I haven't looked at his code. What just happened? Artillery. Just that would be over here. 36. We'll let that continue. If he's also sort of double covers it, which could cause problems, I don't know. But I did have, I forget which contributor it was. Okay, Italy annexes Abyssinia formally now. Okay, cool. That definitely dealt with these nations, but these are, the Soviets have to be pushing in, or non-German, non-Axis control of certain provinces to happen, and they start switching sides. So it's not timed just on history or, some historical date. It's on a certain calculation of conditions. Okay. Well, guys, my throat is giving me problems, and it's getting a little harder to talk here, and I think I want to save my voice. Thank you, Arno. Yes, you can give the stream a thumbs up. It does help. But I think I'm going to end this for the day, both the live stream and the recording. Tomorrow, I hope to be back. I think I will, playing some War Thunder. So you guys are happy to either join and watch, or actually join, and we'll make room for you at least on a few battles. And we'll. No, I really think I need to stop talking right now. I really do. This isn't just me being lazy. I really think I need to stop talking. So, yeah, if you're new here, because I don't know that I've seen Mum Waldy before, you hit the like or hit the subscribe button, or follow on Twitch. So I'm live on both, and we'll see you tomorrow, or check out some of my live videos. Tuesday I will be streaming for Slytherin. I forget what game it is, and of course be back live next weekend. So thanks everyone. See you then. I really do appreciate y'all.